We're going to need everything we can come up with to build the infrastructure this region needs in the next few years.
Public sector investment is not sufficient to produce the projects needed at the rate required to support the economy.
Private equity is very important, and this is fresh cash coming into the region.
What is going to be required is a mixture of contributors.
And so it basically just means you can build more roads faster, meet the mobility needs of the region better.
I'm John Miller. I'm with Patton Boggs in Washington. While I was at MIT, I had National Science Foundation grants and other support to look at these kind of projects and how they are delivered and competed across the world.
My name is Ray Perryman. I am an economist. Well, basically, I was asked to take a look at two potential ways this very much needed corridor could be built. One, the proposal that was awarded to the Cintra JP Morgan Group through the bidding process, and then the proposal that was subsequently submitted by the North Texas Toll Authority. And just from a purely economic perspective, stepping back, looking at the region as a whole, saying, what's the best thing for the region here?
Both public and private sector investment is going to be required, and not only in highways, but in other modes as well.
So there's a need for every tool that's available to try to accelerate infrastructure development in this region.
The Cintra JP Morgan team is making a contribution of $763 million plus to the project up front that's equity and that is at risk. And that initial equity investment is an awfully strong commitment by the team to produce the project on time.
If you look at the economics of this one and the way that the bond rating agencies and others look at it, the Toll Authority will even have to pledge some of its existing assets in order to finance this particular project. That's monies that could otherwise be used and pledged to finance other ongoing projects.
NTTA is a great organization. It has 64 miles of toll road already in operation. It knows how to run toll roads, it knows how to operate them. It also has an 87-mile program of future projects on its plate now. By committing to State Highway 121, does the NTTA diminish its capacity to complete the other toll roads on its plate? And I think the answer to that, and it's just a common sense answer, is yes.
One of the difficulties you face with the NTTA proposal is because they would have to leverage their entire toll system, if a certain amount of revenue was not available, the bondholders could say you have to raise tolls on all the roads. The private entity is saying we're putting our cash into this project, hundreds of millions of dollars of our own money into this project, and there's no guarantee we'll get that money back. And that shifts the risk profile. Again, that takes it off the taxpayers, off the toll payers, and shifts it over to the private sector.
When the Cintra JP Morgan proposals were submitted, along with their competitors, TxDOT already had extensive requirements as to safety, maintenance and operations, technology requirements, limits on tolls. Contrast that with a public entity. There are no penalties from failure to meet contract requirements.
There's a lot of protections built in the Cintra JP Morgan contract than you might find in a public contract.
There will be more requirements, much more requirements for additional investment, and in order to implement the whole strategic plan, it would be a bad idea to throw out one of the contributors.
The state of Texas has imported capital since we were a republic, and there seems to be a misunderstanding that there's something wrong with that. All that is someone saying, we have enough confidence in the future of Texas that we're willing to put hundreds of millions of dollars of our own cash on the line and take the risk with it.
One of the interesting comparisons between Cintra JP Morgan proposal and NTTA is that over the next 8 years, NTTA is going to more than double its network from 64 miles to around 150 miles. And it's going to have to open roads at twice the rate that it has opened in the past 8 years. And I think that's uncharted ground. I think NTTA can do it, but it hasn't done it yet. Now compare with Cintra. Cintra has over 1,240 miles of toll road in place. Cintra has a proven track record of getting these projects built and managing these projects very well.
And so it is very important that NTTA's resources be used and used very effectively and efficiently, and they have a vital role to play, but they can't do it all.
And the perception of potential bidders is a key element in producing competition. If you teach potential participants that they will be treated fairly, they will tend to come and to compete. If you teach them otherwise, they will tend to stay away. But it lowers the level of competition, and it tends to increase prices, and it tends to produce projects that are not as successful as they could have been had there been open and maximum competition.
The critical thing is how much can you do, how fast can you do it, what are the economic benefits. When you step back and look at it that way, it's a no-brainer which way this thing should go.
It seems clear to me that the Cintra JP Morgan proposal provides the most advantage to the region and to toll payers.